My name is Ajman, E18 CSE 001. I'm gonna discuss deadlock avoidance featuring Banker's algorithm. What's a deadlock? When two or more processes are waiting for the other to release resources. Uh, let's understand this concept with the help of this diagram. These two plants are two processes and both of them need both of these resources, that is sun and water. Now process 1 has been assigned sunlight but not water, and for process 2 it's vice versa. So in this condition there's a deadlock. None of them will be able to grow completely and this process will go for on and on. So this condition needs to be avoided in case of operating systems. So let's start with the algorithm itself. Inputs. First we need to know the allocated amount of each of the process. The number of resources each process is using. That's about it. We need to know that the total amount that the system has, the total amount of resources that the system can make available for the processes. Yeah, this one is important. Maximum need. The maximum need each process, uh, uh, the maximum amount of resources each process needs to execute completely. We need to know this beforehand, otherwise the algorithm is of no use. After the algorithm, it will fetch the if deadlock is there or not, it will detect it, and if it is not there, the safe sequence, in which order the processes should be executed so that deadlock could be avoided. We'll get to know that. So we'll just yeah, here's the process. We Yeah, we have this table, uh, some columns. There are 5 processes P1 through P5. uh, the amount of resources allocated to them, we have 3 resources A, B and C, and below are the amounts. The maximum need that we already know of each process of each resource. Then in the process of the algorithm, we'll calculate the uh, available uh, resources for the system and the remaining need for the processes. Then we have the total amount the system currently has. That's 10 units of process A, 5 units of B, and 7 units of C. Finally, the algorithm will fetch the safe sequence. So we'll start with finding the total amount of resources currently allocated. For this, we'll just add uh, individual amounts for A, B, and C respectively. And here we have the number 7, 5, and 3. Now we'll subtract this from the total amount the system can actually make available. That's 10, 5, and 7. And here we have 3, 3, 2. That's the amount available for providing to the processes so that they can execute. So let's calculate the remaining need for each of the process. Like for P1 it's 743. We have found that out from uh, subtracting the allocation from the max need. The maximum need for P1 is 7, 5 and 3, and the current allocation is 0, 1 and 0. So subtracting that, um, here's the remaining need 743. It needs 7 units of A, 4 units of B and 3 units of C to execute completely. We'll find this out for the rest of processes, and now we'll check if the current available amount of resources uh, can fulfill the remaining need of each of the process, like one by one we'll try to find out. So we'll take a look at P1. For P1, the remaining need is 7, 4 and 3, while the availability is 3, 3 and 2. So clearly we cannot execute the process with the current available amount of resources. So we skip this and move on to P2. Now P2 needs 1 unit of A, 2 units of B and 2 units of C to execute. Surely we can provide that. So that's exactly what we did. We provided P2 with that and we put it in the save sequence. Now P2 is executed completely and is out of picture, and the uh, amount of resources it was holding, it that's also released. Now that means we have uh, 532 of availability. That's increased. Okay. Now we move on to P3. It needs 6 units of A, but we clearly have 5, so we'll skip it. P4, we can fulfill the need, so yeah, we freed the previous resources and it's in the save sequence. Now same with P5, then we move on to P1 and P3. At the end we have the save sequence P2, P4, P5, P1, and P3. And the total available space out after executing all the processes is 7, 10, 5, and 7, which is exactly the same as the total amount we had in the beginning, 10, 5, and 7. That's it. That was the whole algorithm for deadlock detection and uh, fetching the safe sequence. So let's talk about the limitations of this algorithm. Clearly, this is not perfect. It needs to know the maximum need of resources beforehand. While in practical life, this is impossible for operating system in most cases. We do not know the maximum need, and uh, the number of processes varies dynamically. That's not static. We do not know if there are 5 processes or 7. That can change anytime and the algorithm will fail in that case. Yeah, the algorithm depends on the fact that after execution, the processes will free up the resources, and that can be utilized in the next process. But in real life, it may take hours or even days for the resources to be actually released. Now, real practical systems cannot bear that, and ultimately it is impossible to implement this algorithm in most systems. So, question is, what's the point? What's the whole point of Banker's algorithm if we cannot implement this? Simple. It sets a benchmark for other algorithms that we can implement. We can do this in theory and check if other algorithms can actually be how much their result is closer to this algorithm. That's all. Thank you. This was the Banker's algorithm. Thank you.